an hour ago. They are going to make a 30-minute presentation. We were going to have, please come in here. We're going to have time for questions and answers. We're going to cut it short because we also have another meeting later, but at least I want the members of the committee to hear from the representatives. This is a meeting that it was planned over 2 months ago. They wanted to come and talk to the Affordable Housing Committee, and they have a PowerPoint presentation to share with you all. So while we wait for Rosie to come, I can sing to you if that's something you guys want me to do. Sure. There's Rosie. She saved the day. What we are going to do is, if you have any questions at the end of the meeting, we can go to one of the committee rooms on the side and have the question and answer there. But we have also, I think there is a follow-up meeting regarding the soccer stadium, and there's also a meeting at the Minority Caucus. But thank you, Apartment Association people, for being so patient. If you guys, any of you wants to get started while they work out the PowerPoint? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
First of all, I would like to say thank you on behalf of the chair and the council members for the opportunity for us to share the information we've brought to you today. I am Lisa Swick. I am with Bell Partners and also the 2017 Greater Nashville Apartment Association Chairman of the Board. And with me today, I have Hunter Nelson to my left, who is Senior VP of Affordable Development with Elmington Capital Management, and Kirby Davis to my right, your left, COO with Freeman Webb Company. I would also like to state, for the purpose of our meeting today, that the Greater Nashville Apartment Association has been working with the Mayor's Senior Advisor for Affordable Housing on the HIP program, as well as Housing Navigation Software for Housing Solutions. And since I understand that we are a little tight for time, I'm going to dive right in just a moment. I am going to discuss the segment regarding basically the multifamily status in Nashville today. And then Mr. Nelson will discuss the development process, and Mr. Davis, the overview of affordable and workforce housing. Are you going to run that for me? Yep. Okay, great. And on to the next slide. So we're just going to dive right in.
Sorry, I didn't introduce you, so did you guys introduce yourselves already? Okay, I guess I wasn't listening. Sorry. Well, and just for the record, this is the Ad Hoc Affordable Housing Committee, yes. And it should have started at 5, so I'm a little bit discombobulated, but thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Wonderful. So we'll get started on our presentation, and basically I'm going to present just an overview of the current multifamily housing industry in Nashville. The current status of the multifamily housing industry, the market has remained strong. Our skyline is changing, and we have a lot of cranes that are visible everywhere. But even with all of the additional units that have come into our market has remained very strong. We're facing 97% occupancy as of first quarter in the affordable side, and on the conventional side, 93%. And considering the number of units that have come into play, that's an extremely strong number for Nashville. Nashville is the nation-leading job and population growth market. We are one of the top in the nation. We also, and I will just state for the record also, not only do we continue to hear of the 100+ people per day moving into Nashville, but I was surprised to realize and to understand that number has been daily since 2013, I might add. That'll feed into the information that I'll share here momentarily. Nashville also remains a top prospect for investors in the multifamily sector. Of course, when you have people coming in to Nashville, as many industries, businesses relocate, that brings the need along with it for multifamily. 4,818 new units came online in 2016, and Nashville will deliver between 2017 and 2018 16,700 additional units. So, go back one more. The current Nashville statistics, the National Apartment Association and National Multifamily Housing Council commissioned a group, a firm, an outside third-party, unbiased firm, to survey 50 metro areas across the nation, Nashville being one of them. And so their statistics are included in this presentation, and from that, they gleaned that 237,100 apartment residents reside in Nashville metro area, living in 111,900 homes. And of that, they contribute $4.2 billion to our economy, and they support 40,300 jobs. So they are a driving economic force, to say the least. Nashville ranks 18th out of 50 in U.S. metropolitan areas in terms of percentage increase in demand for new apartment homes. So behind the numbers, the factors contributing to the need for new apartment homes in Nashville. Did we skip? Can we go back one more? I'm sorry, Kirby. Okay. One of the things that came from this study, and this is information that is for the year 2030, okay? So 29,600 additional apartment homes are needed in Nashville by the year 2030 just to keep pace with the population growth and other factors that are increasing the need for multifamily housing, which we'll briefly discuss here in a moment. There will also be a growing need to renovate or improve existing apartment buildings, and through renovation, that's primarily speaking to existing communities that are 1980s and prior. Okay, we can go ahead and skip that. So factors that contribute to the need for the new apartment homes. Number one is the aging population. That accounts for a large part of Nashville's population growth. Immigration, this 51% actually represents the nationwide statistic, but half or 51% of all population growth is contributing to immigration. Nashville obviously is not separate from that. We have a large number of folks coming in from everywhere to Nashville. Then we also see some shifting demographics and housing purchase trends. So in 1960, half, or 44%, nearly half of all U.S. households were married couples with children. Today, that's a very different story, as it's fewer than 1/5, or 19%. And then we have people that are waiting longer to start families or to buy their first homes. Many of us, our children are going off to college first, they want career first, and then all of that later. And then older people. Our retiring folks are increasingly selling their homes and moving into rental communities for various reasons. They either don't want to continue the upkeep on a home, or they want the lifestyle that's afforded to them through multifamily. So with regard to affordable housing, the Greater Nashville Apartment Association certainly agrees that affordable housing is both needed and necessary. We also understand that failure to meet the increasing demand for rental homes will exacerbate the affordability of housing by causing rent prices to continue to rise. It's all about that supply and demand factor. When there's less supply, high demand, prices continue to increase. And then maintaining a conducive environment for investors and developers to build or renovate affordable housing is very crucial to meeting future demand. And I would just like to point out, if you would like more statistics or continued data and information on what I have shared within this part of the presentation, please feel free to go to weareapartments.org, and you can there find the information on the Nashville metro area. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Hunter Nelson. As Lisa said, I'm a affordable housing developer here in town with Elmington Capital, which is a commercial real estate development shop. A little bit on us, we manage about 30,000 units, apartment units in 11 states. A little less than half of those have some sort of affordability metric on it. So we, for lack of a better word, have a lot of experience in affordable housing. We have developed close to 1,500 units of new affordable housing in the state in the past maybe 4 years, from Memphis to Chattanooga. And then we currently manage probably in the neighborhood of 2,100 units of affordable housing in Davidson County today. So we have a big presence in it today. I guess one thing I was asked to talk about is a little bit about the development process of affordable housing. It's more or less follows the same development process as a traditional apartment complex, though it has some challenges and idiosyncrasies that we can talk about here. So the biggest, I guess, the biggest process in the affordable housing development process is finding a site like it is in any. The problem being is that we're very cost conscious and more or less cost capped. We can only pay about $2 to $2.5 million a site, depending on the number of units that we can build on it, mainly because rents are capped no matter where you are in the county. Traditional real estate factors follow whether we're in Councilwoman Berkeley Allen's district, where or we're way far out elsewhere. It's about $694 a unit a month for a 1-bedroom, up to about $935 for a 3-bedroom, no matter where you are. The other important thing is we hear from a lot of people say, well, we love affordable housing where it is in the county, but please put it downtown, put it in the Gulch, put it somewhere where people are close to jobs or there's walkability. And I would love to do that too, and so would the rest of the affordable housing developers. The biggest challenge being is more or less the funding source, the largest funding source being the federal tax credit. The structure cannot work in which we can't afford to pay for structured parking. More or less everything we're doing is just a parking field, so that really makes it challenging for that. The other part is location. The driving factor in affordable housing development is the federal low-income housing tax credit, which pretty much specifies that if I'm in a qualified census tract, and I'm more than happy to walk through with everyone what a qualified census tract is, but if I'm in a qualified census tract versus not being in a qualified census tract, I automatically get 30% more federal dollars into the project. That has a little bit of a disadvantage in the sense of continuing to put affordable housing in more or less the same areas, and it's something that we've dealt with here on a council perspective and as a community as a whole, but that's more or less it. The other important aspect on location is that the driving factors are not only the federal tax credits, but also the investor in each one, which are your large national banks. SunTrust Bank, Regions Bank is probably the largest buyer of housing tax credits in Davidson County now. And they want everything that you want. They want close proximity to jobs. They want close proximity to neighborhood amenities, to grocery stores, to public transportation, to pharmacies, to employers. So they are asking me to find sites that hit all those metrics as well. And the same thing, the other thing they want too, is they want there to be a rent advantage for their apartment complex, meaning they want the market rent that's currently existing in that immediate vicinity to be higher than what the affordable rent is. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know you can. Yeah, absolutely. The other thing too, when it comes to site selection for affordable housing is we constantly fight NIMBYism everywhere. And I know you hear that all the time, but it's true. We, as an affordable housing developer, I pretty much will not look at a site that's not already zoned multifamily because, to be upfront with the district and to be upfront with the constituents that I'm an affordable housing developer, most times that just ends the conversation at that point. They have, there's a negative connotation as to what affordable housing is. Most people think it's very derelict housing from the 1950s that was built, at the turn of the last Great War, and that's our biggest challenge, but it's also our biggest opportunity. We've had several successful public hearings in Councilman Hager's district where we're doing a project, and in Councilman Glover's district that we eventually were able to get people to engage and get them over the hump of what their preconceived notions of what affordable housing are, but it's hard. Everyone has ideas as to what that is. And so getting new sites approved for affordable housing is a constant uphill battle. as I'm sure MDHA will gladly tell you. Finally, we can go through this, but a little bit, I provided a lot more data than what I planned to cover, but the largest kind of development timeframes, it takes probably on average a little bit less than a year to 9 months to a year to more or less get a project from conception to groundbreaking, because of all of the public notices and different entities that you have to work with and get their blessing on. The biggest being the Tennessee Housing Development Agency, which is the state housing agency. They're more or less they have the purse strings of affordable housing money in the state, and specifically in Davidson County. It takes about 120 to 150 days for you to get their approval on a project. And then, if you don't mind going one more. And then the other big aspect is most affordable housing equity and debt providers will not close without a building permit, which in Nashville, as I'm sure y'all are well aware from hearing from other developers, can be a very, very long, drawn-out process, and currently is about maybe 180 days for us to get a building permit. And then on top of that, there's several other time frames. MDHA, getting a pilot approved with them can be 60 days, and they're actually phenomenal to work with on the pilot process. But it takes about 60 days to do that. You have to do several public notice periods, and if there's any other sort of federal dollars, whether it be home funds or CDBG funds, that can extend the time frame by at least another additional 90 days. So more or less, the biggest challenges are finding sites that are zoned appropriately and that we can afford to pay the price. And then finally, was asked to give more or less a rundown of the other major municipalities in the state and what their affordable housing programs are for local incentives, because with construction pricing and the equity markets as they exist today, there's not really a project that can get off the ground without some sort of localized incentive, especially in the state. And I've had this conversation with many of you who I've been fortunate enough to sit down with, but the way the state taxes affordable housing properties is already starting way behind. Yeah, and so you have to have that just to be able to get the project off the ground. But Chattanooga has a much longer, much more difficult pilot process that involves meeting with every county official and every city official. But their pilot is for 15 years. Knoxville has a much easier pilot program, tax abatement program that's for 20 years, and it actually has the benefit of having less expensive land downtown, but rents are less than Nashville. And then Memphis, for good or bad, has the easiest tax abatement program in the state. It's actually 100% just. The authority is given to a separate body from the city council, but its land is very affordable downtown and in desirable areas of downtown Memphis, and it's fairly easy to get an affordable housing pilot there, just so long as you're providing rental housing for at or below 60% of AMI. So, would love to answer any more questions that you have about that. So,
Are you going to speak as well? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Let me, that works? Okay.
Thank you, Councilman, for having us today. Back one. Having worked with many of you all in the Homeless Commission, I know how frustrating it is to see all these new buildings going up and no one can seem to afford to live in them that we know. So I thought we'd look at what is the affordability throughout the county. And HUD's most recent numbers, a family of four has a median income of $68,700, which would equate 30% with $1,715 a month rent. And up here are the apartment association's average rents by submarket for a two-bedroom apartment, which a family of four could live in. And as you can see, with the exception of downtown and Green Hills, all of them fall, and North Nashville, which is basically part of the downtown submarket, all fall within the affordable range. Now, and that's a little bit overstated. These are conventional apartment rates, and they tend to be averaged up by the newer product coming online. So it's the average, not the range. The other point I think I wanted to make is that the apartment association is really interested in working with council and the city in trying to address these affordability issues. Our company, through the House Nashville's, discounted our rents by about $400,000 on 54 units, which is about a $6 million market value. We've agreed to serve as administrator for the HIP contracts, and as Nelson said, Hunter said, and Lisa, many of the members of the association concentrate exclusively on managing affordable properties. So we're doing what we can to try and help address the problem, but the real issue for Nashville, if we're ever going to address the affordability issue, is density. Because without more density close to the downtown area, we're never going to be able to produce the housing that's affordable to the teachers and policemen and waiters and waitresses. And I think you all had a little bit of a debate about that earlier about a parcel of land. So all I can say to you is the science behind it is pretty compelling, and the city, if it's going to be able to address this issue, is going to have to reconsider the way we look at established neighborhoods. Councilman, I'll open it up for questions since we're running behind.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm going to allow the meeting to go on for like 15 more minutes, so some of you won't be able to ask questions. But I do appreciate you guys coming, and I know we talked about having this meeting for like 2 months almost, so thanks for your patience. First on the list is Councilman Sledge.
Thank you, Chair. And thank all of y'all for being here, and thank you especially with the schedule issues we've had. I wanted to talk a little bit about, I know, Hunter, you touched a little bit on LIHTC and the difference in cities and what we're looking at, but could you talk a little bit too about the national picture that we're looking at right now with the uncertainty in financing and why there's kind of even more of a sense of urgency now than just the market we're dealing with?
Yeah, absolutely. The national election was probably the worst thing that could have happened to the affordable housing industry. For better or worse, the affordable housing industry more or less finances itself off of corporate tax credits. So with the idea that there's going to be a corporate tax break, that in of itself, with corporations paying less taxes, there's less demand for tax credits, especially for affordable housing. So to put it into dollars and cents, a project which would have been paid, let's just say it was $10 million in tax credits, pre-November when the election happened, a project probably could have generated about almost a little over $10 million in equity. Post-election today is probably in the best case, getting 8.9 million. So just in that, it's been about an 11 to 12% reduction in pricing for that. So that opens up a huge gap in sources and financing that has to be filled by something, whether that be an additional tax abatement, some additional subsidy from the city, home fund, CDBG, really anything. It has to fill that gap for that. So yeah, it's a huge issue, especially with the idea that corporate tax credit or corporate tax reform could happen. So.
Can I just get one more?
That as well as like CDBG and home, which are the other big funding sources that MDHA uses. Those potentially have been talked about being either slashed or completely gone away. So those are two huge local incentives that will be gone if the administration's budget passes. So.
Sorry, Councilman. Councilor Dow.
I just want to comment on one thing you said about on affordable housing. Of course, we definitely need affordable housing. I know you mentioned you had a hard time getting affordable housing approved in different communities, and I think that's a big a misnomer about people not desiring affordable housing within their communities and not, wanting those units constructed there. I think I would hope at some point that we could have a conversation about the reason why people are apprehensive about having that type of housing in their communities, and be realistic about what it brings into the community and address those issues so that it's not a NIMBY situation I think one of the things we see is a concentration of apartments in certain areas in low-income housing, as we do out in southeast Davidson County. I have 34 apartment complexes in my community, and can't communicate with the people because, obviously they're in apartments, and there's no relationship between the apartment association and the council people, elected officials in the community, so that we can communicate with them to address some of the issues that they put on a community. But I want to thank you for coming, but I don't think people are against having affordable housing. I think it is a location issue, a concentration issue, and addressing the issues that come with it. And I think once we overcome those barriers, I think you won't see this attitude that you have or you feel you have toward people constructing these homes and communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. Council Lady Henderson.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for this presentation. It's very helpful. I wanted to ask, Chair, could we have this PowerPoint sent to the full council, if we could? Chair?
Sorry.
Can we ask to have this presentation sent to the full council, please,
Yes.
for our reference? I just wanted to preface my question with that. And then as well, it seems like Nashville was kind of ahead of the curve in eliminating downtown parking minimums. So you don't have to have structured parking if you build downtown. You are required to have zero parking. And I wonder if you can speak kind of to the equity piece of it. What I'm hearing from developers is the bank wants you to have the parking. And so you can't get the loan unless you build the parking. And we have this kind of cart horse thing where we have parking that creates our traffic problem and so on and so forth. So I know as we move via Nashville Next to concentrate development in our transportation corridors, it looks like there's some opportunity there along transportation corridors to eliminate parking minimums as well. But can you speak to the equity piece of that and how that kind of plays together?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. There are no downtown, parking requirements. There's some challenges with that too. One, downtown has the most expensive per square foot land, so that makes it really difficult when your rent is capped. Secondly, it's from at least a parking perspective, banks and the equity groups are going to want to know where residents are going to park. It's Chattanooga has this ridiculous zoning ordinance that allows you to offset one parking spot for every 6 bike spaces that you provide with no maximum. And so we theoretically were like, well, what if we just put out 1,000 bike spaces? Could we not have parking there? And we were told by HUD that would be not acceptable. So HUD and Fannie and Freddie, which are the 3 largest lenders on affordable housing from the long-term financing perspective, they want to have it, and they require you to have it. Yeah.
Thank you. Council Lady Allen.
Thank you. Two questions. One, I went to
Just one question.
one quick question. I went to an affordable housing summit in Minneapolis, and they had a project they had just built where they demonstrated they could have built parking, and were able to persuade their lenders that just being able to do it was good enough, and then they built half of what they were required to build, and it worked. It worked for them. I'm not sure what it would take in Nashville to make that happen, but it seems like a good idea.
Yeah, I mean we're doing it at 12th and Wedgwood, but we're having a little bit of parking in Colby's district, and it's we're putting some structured parking there, but it's obviously required a big investment from the city for that. I think a lot of it depends also too on the public transportation infrastructure that's in existence close to the site as well. There are probably a few sites within your district in particular where everyone could be a true walkable neighborhood, but that's not really consistent with the entire county. So yes, but I get asked the question every time as to, they want 1 space for 1 bedroom and then 2 to 2.5 spaces per 3 bedrooms. We're planning on we're planning hopefully to sponsor some legislation that will reduce it for senior housing, just because the traffic or the vehicle need there is so much less. And that's one way that we can do that is a specific use, like such a senior that would help drive that. And it would also help reduce construction costs too, so.
Thank you. Councilman Hastings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just really quick, the conversation about increasing density that you spoke of. Could you give me a overall vision of the increased density that you're speaking of? And what would that look like in a affordable housing, workforce housing? because those words are kindly getting rudely interrupted within the conversation with our constituents. But could you give me a layout of what that increased density would look like?
Well, I think what you would see is not, it would be conventional construction, but the market would make it affordable because you'd see a lot more product pouring into the market. I would say now you can easily build, 100 units an acre?
Yeah.
So I would think the city needs to look along major corridors, Charlotte, Gallatin Road, places like that, that you increase the density and on all the property lining those corridors, and that'd be a good start.
And then last, we have Councilman Withers.
Thank you so much. Just for those who may be joining this discussion, could we get a little bit more information about what the qualifying census tracts are and how a census tract becomes qualified?
Yeah, absolutely. HUD changes it per year depending on demographic shifts. You're asking a very technical question. I can get you that answer. It's a pretty simple map, but I believe it's census tract is qualified if 20% or more of the residents are below the federal poverty line. However, there are maximum amount of census tracts within an MSA that can be qualified. So a lot of times you're just trading one piece for another. For example, for a long time, until maybe 2 years ago, the Gulch was considered a qualified census tract. Parts of Edge Hill and places like that are still census tracts today, but we can certainly get you a map for it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming. You're going to share that PowerPoint with us, if you can give it to Rosie, and also if you don't mind sharing your contact information, if people have additional questions, they can get in touch with you. I see that you brought people with you. The gallery. Thank you all for coming to support your friends, and also I see people from NOAA. Thank you as well for coming. I'm going to call this meeting to an end. I appreciate you all coming. Thank you.